Agriculture in New Jersey. You've passed the farms and you know it is a big part of the New Jersey economy, and we are pleased to have with us right now Douglas Fisher, who is the New Jersey Secretary of Agriculture. Sir, thank you so much for coming in today.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Larry.
Let's talk about community-supported agriculture. First, why don't you tell us what that is?
Well,
exactly?
That's where a farmer will get the opportunity to sell shares in the output of his farm or her farm. People buy a share. There's a number of different ways to set this up, where you are essentially getting a piece of the harvest. When it comes to, you're sharing some of the risks. You're providing funds for that farmer at the beginning of the season to go out and buy seeds. So it's real, and you know, other equipment. And
why is this important to farmers? Why would they do that? Well,
it's a highly intensive business. It costs a lot of money to run a farm to get that operation going, and it's a way for them to help them at the beginning of the season, as I said, when all the money's going one way, it's all going out.
Right. Yeah. So early on, as you look at a farm business, you have to put out a lot of money very early when you're planting the crops,
right,
and you get the money at the end. This is a way of getting some of that money early.
And it's also an opportunity for people to share, and the opportunity that they're involved with that farming operation. So they're very much engaged. They love the fact that they can pick and choose, or as I said, there's so many ways that they do this, but that they can pick and choose what's going to be growing. They may ask the farmer to grow certain things for them that season. It's really a two-way street, and it really works well.
It's almost like being a shareholder with a company.
Sort of.
You get to have some say in that company.
Well, you don't own the company, but you own.
I get it. You don't own the farm.
You don't own the farm.
But you do. I mean, the fact that you get to have some say in it is interesting. That's pretty fascinating. Now, who invests? Can it be anybody?
Anyone. They sell shares. They'll come on the market. Well, I mean, essentially, they'll offer shares. Some CSAs are closed because it's so popular they really can't take any more at any given time. And others are newly started, or they're expanding, and they're looking for people to help them with that operation. So, yeah, it's generally open to the public, and they're mostly local. They're there for the community. The community is there for them.
Does this help the state too? I mean, and the reason I ask that question is because if the agricultural industry suffers, because for whatever reason, if it suffers, sometimes the state or the government or the federal government has to get involved. If there are shares and some of the risk is shared among the community, does it save the government money in the long run and possibly taxpayers?
Well, it's wholly a different thing. I mean, this is essentially a marketing activity. It's a business proposition essentially. Yeah. And so when you say,
how is it a wholly different thing though? I mean, if it's still money that they need and the risk is shared, then it wouldn't be wholly different, would it?
Well, I'm saying it's all on the private side. In other words, there's no government interaction.
No, I get it. I get it. Well, I get it. But there was government. There sometimes was, and if they get the money from other sources, it would save it coming from the government. I don't want to belabor the point.
Well, let's just say that it's really a part of our whole tapestry of farming in this state, and it does significantly contribute to our gross product.
No, I think it's a wonderful idea. I wasn't looking for anything bad in it at all. Yeah. I was just trying to figure out the government involvement might be that it would save money for the government in the long run, where there would be shared risk for the farms. That's the only thing.
Well, most of our farmers are truly independent, and unlike some farming operations, in terms of what you would see in terms of subsidies, if that's what you're speaking of, that's not a big part of the income of the farm in this state of New Jersey.
In the state of New Jersey,
no,
that's interesting,
no.
And it is in other states?
We have insurance programs. That's a different component where they buy insurance, and the federal government will help out with that. But that's, once again, they're buying protection. But actual subsidies, no.
No. You said some of these CSAs have become extremely popular. Mm-hmm. Who wants to be involved? I understand what you say, the community wants to be involved, and I understand that. Right. But I would think that restaurants would love, the big thing in restauranting right now is to have fresh produce and have organically grown produce and to grow your own. This is a way to have some say in what's grown.
Well, it's appealing on, whether it's, as you said, in the marketplace for restaurants, and they do, and we have many of them that are just doing, just as you said, just that. And they're bringing their produce right to the door of that restaurant. It's a very local, very hyper-local. It's extraordinary in its benefits, and yes, they are.
Because of this program, I would think that farms that are already established don't need this as much because they have money that carries over from season to season. It sounds like something that would be for new farms or people that want to get into this.
Sure. Well, it's clearly most helpful to a new and beginning farmer.
Right.
But at the same time, it is something on the other side where the marketplace is, people like the idea and they want to participate on that farm. And this is a way for them to have that sort of proposition satisfied. So it can go either way. If it's an established farmer, it's, as you said, not quite as beneficial, but on the other hand, it's a part of their marketing plan.
So if I wanted to start a CSA, do I go to the state first?
If you want to start a CSA, you can start a CSA. The state doesn't grant any particular, there's no license to do this. They do it as a 501c3. They may do it as a non-501c3, but just as a business, say we're starting a CSA, who would be interested in what it is that we're producing on this farm.
And so if a community together wants to start something like this, because one of the big things, and I know that you met two gentlemen that were here that we've interviewed for Jersey Matters who were starting an urban farm in Asbury Park. It's a little bit different than what you're talking about, but that certainly would be a possibility, would it not? To start an urban farm as a CSA and get the community involved in doing that?
Well, that's the point of this, is that there are so many arrangements. We have some CSAs where they are engaged with one company's employees and they get involved in that CSA, and every week they go to that major corporation and drop off their shares, or they put in their orders. Another, it's a nonprofit that's saying we want to do something good, we want to provide for the less fortunate, and we're going to do a 501c3. I mean, there's tons of different models out there.
Oh, it's wonderful. It sounds like a great idea, and what's kind of fun about it, and I know it's a business, and I know it's important, and I know it's a part of the economy, and it's hard work, you're absolutely right, but it's such a part of Americana, it's so much a part of our history, that to be able to own a share of a farm is actually kind of cool, to be able to share in the harvest. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the harvest, how are we doing?
Well, as you all know, as everyone knows, we had a cold spring and it was a little late, but we're pretty much back on track, and because of the warmer weather now that's come about, we could use some rain, of course, but everything is, you're going to see tomatoes starting to pop out now. We've just moved through asparagus, we're getting near the end. Jersey strawberries people are out there picking them and enjoying going on to the farm. Peaches are just around the corner in a few weeks. Blueberries are next up. Essentially about 2 weeks from now, you'll see blueberries right around July 4th. So, the marketplace is starting now to fill up with our fresh fruits and vegetables, Jersey Fresh, and all that's great in the Garden State. Yeah,
I love Jersey tomatoes. When I've worked around the country, and one of the things I've missed the most, although I know that they're exported, they're not the same. And one of the things I miss the most is Jersey tomatoes, so I can't wait. When can we start getting the Jersey tomatoes?
Well, some are now available if they're grown in greenhouses. But the field grown will be probably, I'd say the next week or so you'll start to see.
But the good ones are coming out.
They're all good.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
Douglas Fisher, the New Jersey Secretary of Agriculture. We'll be back right after this.